Happy New Year. It is mid-January now at this point, and I have been wanting to do a 2022 goals video comparing my goals for 2021 and then talking about my goals for 2022, but my goals for last year were kind of like very vague, and I also didn't do them like at all. I said I wanted to read more self-published books. No number or anything, just more. I read 2. One was a reread, so I don't know if that really counts. I am currently listening to self-pub short stories, but I started it during sort of a reading slump, so I haven't gotten very far. Hopefully that'll pick up. I'm feeling like I'm coming out of that. And then my other goal was to read more of my physical TBR and to buy less books, because as I've said a lot, I have a small apartment with not a lot of space, so I don't have room to keep buying books. But I didn't really do that. I still bought books. I bought a lot of books. Whenever I have a bad day, I usually go to the bookstore and I buy at least one book. That little dopamine rush, and then I have more books than I have room for. I did go through my books that I read last year and compared what I read that I owned previously to 2021 and the books that I read that I purchased in 2021, and then books that I rented or borrowed from friends in the library and such. The majority of books I read were books that I rented or borrowed. There was like 20 something books of those, and then I read like 17 or 18 books that I purchased last year, and then maybe like 14 or 15 books that I already owned previously to 2021. So I did not accomplish my goal. I didn't accomplish my goals at all last year. The only book that I mentioned that I was planning on reading in 2021 was The Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan. The 5th Wheel of Time book. I have finally DNF'd this series. I got about halfway through Fires of Heaven and I just couldn't pick it up. I couldn't pick it up again. It was frustrating me too much, so I just decided to stop. So I didn't read the only book that I planned on reading. That was 2021. For 2022, my goals, what I'm going to do is go through my books, show you my physical TBR. Hopefully you can hold me accountable. Any books that you think I should read or you want me to read this year, let me know in the comments. It's cheating if you say all the books because I can't do that. I have about 100 plus. I have some books that aren't here that are other places in the apartment, like in my room or just hidden in places. They're not all here, but most of them are. So yeah, let me know what books that you want me to read and I'll prioritize them. I'm pretty good about doing that. If I have an incentive to do it, like if it's like a challenge, then I feel more excited to read a book. So please let me know what book you want me to read in the comments down below. And then I'm also going to point out the books that I really want to read. Another challenge for myself this year, I have a scratch off poster over here, top 100 books that I got off of like Etsy. And it's like classics. I want to scratch off more. I really like scratch off posters. It's that dopamine rush, I guess. You know, when you scratch something off or you check something off a list. I want to do that. Read more of those, which I'm in a classics mood right now, so probably will do a couple of them at least until I get out of this mood. So we'll see how far that goes. I just purchased another scratch off poster of the world map. I also got it off Etsy. And it hasn't arrived yet. It's supposed to arrive later this week. I'm really excited. It looks really cool. It's like the map of the Earth from the sky at night. So it's all dark and then you see the lights of like the cities and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to being able to scratch off that. What I'm going to do is scratch off the countries of books where I've read books written by authors from those countries. That'll be fun too. So I really want to do that this year. I'm going to focus on scratching that off and then reading books by authors from a bunch of different countries to scratch off that poster. I think that's going to help me get through any like slumps, because I get through slumps with like little challenges. This last couple of months has been like a downward spiral reading wise. That's because of work life has been very, very stressful. I'm sure everyone is dealing with the same stresses. You probably are also dealing with it. I hope that this new year, at least, even if things don't necessarily get better, at least I hope that we can learn to deal with the stresses better. So yeah, that's how I'm going into this new year. So let's get right to it. My TBR shelf. I'll go through it here, and then I have my phone, so I'll put in clips of the shelves so you can see them a little bit better than just how you're seeing it now. So my top shelf has like my Wheel of Time books behind my Cthulhu poster. I got them in anticipation of reading the whole series, which I'm not going to anymore. So these will probably be going, which means I probably will have a new shelf to put stuff on. I might take care of most of the stuff on the floor. But on top here, randomly, I have 3 other books. I have Great North Road by Peter Hamilton, which is a sci-fi, and then The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and The Virgin Suicides. I'm probably going to read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I've been wanting to read it for a while. It's also on the poster. I'm looking forward to that. It's probably something I'll pick up sooner rather than later. On to the next shelf. This one is half filled up by writing books. So it's like crafting dialogue, crafting characters, senses, whole bunch of stuff. A couple years ago at my local discount shop, they got a huge influx of books. It was the most amazing thing. They had tables filled with books. I like doubled my book collection that year. And they had a bunch of books on writing, mostly from the Writer's Digest, and I just got a bunch of them. And I have used a couple of them. Right now I am going through the Writer's Idea Thesaurus, which is a bunch of prompts, just random prompts, to help stimulate the writing. So I've been picking random ones. Yeah, the book's on. So I've been just picking random prompts to get the juices flowing. So other than that, I've got over here, we've got Subterranean Press, dark fantasy short stories. You don't have to be able to work here, but it helps. By Tom Holt. That's been on my shelf for a while. Ursula Le Guin's The Other Wind, The Black Count, which is a biography of Alexandre Dumas. Baron and Luthien by Tolkien. The Cruel Prince, The Queen of Nothing, first and last books in the series, and The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and someone else. I have these because I went to a book signing with a friend, so I figured I would just get some books signed, even though I don't really read these authors, so that's why I've just been here for a while. Great Expectations by Dickens, The Magician King by Lev Grossman. I read The Magicians last year. Not sure if I want to read that right now though. Dead Astronaut by Jeff Vandermeer. The White Tiger by Aravind Adiga. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. The Neverending Story. Frank Herbert's I, which I think is like a collection of short stories in regards to Dune. I'm very curious. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I'm kind of excited to read it. Then The Book Thief by Marcus Suzak and Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Out of all of these, the ones that I really want to read are The Book Thief by Marcus Suzak. I've been wanting to read that for a long time. I just keep hearing about it, and it's also on my poster. And then I really want to read The White Tiger by Aravind Adiga. That is a book that I got from a surprise book box from an independent bookstore. They put a bunch of random books together for me, and that was one of them, and I haven't read it yet. I've read a couple of the ones from that box, but that one actually was probably the most interesting, and for some reason I haven't picked that one up yet. And then I also want to read The Black Count. I recently got a new nice edition of The Count of Monte Cristo for Christmas. I have it right here. Easton Press, Count of Monte Cristo. It's huge and it's beautiful. And I'm probably going to reread it. And I think I want to read this first before I reread The Count of Monte Cristo. Maybe the reread will feel a little bit different now that I know more about his life and everything. So, yes. I would say Baron Luthien, but I kind of want to read The Silmarillion first because I haven't read that yet. And I do have it. It's over there. It's not on this bookshelf. It's on that bookshelf. And I'm not showing you that bookshelf. It's too much. Too much. The next shelf. We have in this corner, you probably can't see it all because it's covered up by the shelf, Monstrous, volumes 4, 5, and 6. I read 2, 3 last year. I was really in the mood to continue, and then I finally picked up 4, 5, and 6, and I just haven't. I started reading 4 at the end of last year, but the thing about Monstrous is it's one of those series where things just continue to go wrong. Bad things just continue to happen, and I wasn't really in the mood for that. I don't know when I'll pick that up again. I mean, it's comics, so like they're short and easy to get through, but at the same time, you have to be in a certain mood for something that depressing, I guess, dark. And then I have The Girl Who Played with Fire, sequel to The Girl with Dragon Tattoo. Writers of the Future, short stories, science fiction and fantasy short stories. Patricia Briggs' Silence Fallen, one of the books in the Mercy Thompson series. The latest book that I haven't read. There's probably other books after this. There's probably definitely books after this. But this is the latest one that I haven't read. And it's been a while since I've read the Mercy Thompson books. I don't really want to reread them, so hopefully reading this won't be too confusing. Seven Blades in Black by Sam Sykes. I read a couple of chapters, about 2 chapters of that, and it was entertaining, so I'm probably going to continue that soon. Dragon World, I also read a couple chapters of this around the same time, and it was sad, but I do want to continue it. I think it's one of those books that starts off really down, and then we go up from there, so I do want to continue that. I have The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, which is a book I've seen around BookTube a lot that people really enjoy, and they say it makes them feel like all warm and fuzzy, and I want to feel all warm and fuzzy too, so I got it. I have Tea, which is a history of tea in Britain, I'm pretty sure, and then I have this blank book. There's no title. I think it's just called, like if you look it up, it's just referred to as The Manuscript by Anonymous. It doesn't have ISBN. All it has is a website, an email address, and address in the back. But the website, right here. So you can check it out if you want to. I think it's just a list of independent bookstores, which is interesting. I think it's like it's really hard to describe. I read a little bit of it, and it's kind of rambly, and it seems like it's someone talking about like their life and their thoughts and stuff like that. So I don't know exactly what it's about, and it's really hard to look up like any summaries because it doesn't really exist. But I was intrigued by the plain whiteness of the cover, so that's why I picked it up, and I would like to read it, but someday. The Women in White by Wilkie Collins. There's The Sirens of Titan by Kurt Vonnegut. Embers of War by Gareth L. Powell. In the Shadows of Men, Robert Jackson. Then The Only Good Indian. I'm probably going to get rid of this book, actually. About halfway through it, and I stopped reading it. The first time I read it, I got about a quarter of the way through before I put it down. And then I picked it up again to give it another shot. Got another quarter of the way through and put it down again. So since I put it down twice already, I feel like that's a sign that I should just not. One of my coworkers at work likes horror, so I'll probably give it to him and see what he thinks. Peace and Turmoil by Elliot Brooks. We've got Kraken by China Mayville. Gloriana by Michael Moorcock. Ka by Crowley. Journey to Sunny Earth. The Shadows Between Us Just totally random buy. I don't know why I got it. I don't even remember what it's about. But I remember thinking when I picked it up, if I'm in the mood for a YA, this is probably the YA that I would be in the mood for. I don't remember why, but I'm not often in the mood for a YA, but at least I have something if it ever happens. And then sitting on top, also, I apologize for how terrible my bookshelf is organized. I just don't want books on the floor, and I don't have enough shelf space for that. I say that, but I do still have books on the floor. So I have Tarzan of the Apes and The Fountainhead by Anne Rind, Neuromancer, Rule 34 by Charles Strauss, which is a futuristic cyberpunk crime thriller, I think. The Devil You Know by Mike Carey, and then Jim Butcher's Stormfront and Full Moon. I haven't started that series yet. Maybe I will this year. Not sure. So out of this shelf, what I really want to read is Dragon World and Neuromancer and Rule 34. I started Rule 34. It's written in second person, which is so weird, and I thought, I'm not going to like this. But after 2 pages of reading through it, it just fit. So I'm curious, and I'm really looking forward to continuing that, actually. So those are the only 3 that I really, really want to read this year. Everything else is just kind of a nice bonus. Then down here to the lower shelf, got Commonwealth by Anne Pratchett, another book I got from that surprise book box from the independent seller. I have really no desire to read this. I don't know why it's still on my shelf, but we'll see. The Awkward Thoughts of W. Kamau Bell. I started that book last year, I think. I started it last year. Just haven't been in the mood for nonfiction, I guess. Like that kind of nonfiction, where someone's just kind of talking and it's not like, biography. Then Labyrinth by Kate Moss. We've got, this is Alabaster by Caitlin Kiernan. I really love the cover. I really love this cover and how it looks. And it looks really good on the inside too. It's got this really nice paper. I don't know if you can see the textured paper. Anyways, I also got this from Subterranean Press. I look on their site occasionally to see if there's something I would be interested in. Mostly the stuff that I would want is sold out by the time I see it. But still, I like that press. And then Revelations, The Revelations by Eric Cole. I got that from a Page One subscription that I really enjoyed doing the Page One subscription and getting a random book selected based off of my Storygraph statistics and stuff like that. But I have too many books, so I couldn't justify keeping the subscription, even though I buy books. It's just so wrong. But yeah, if I do ever curtail my book buying habit, maybe I will redo that subscription. It was really fun, so I would recommend it to anyone. Piranesi by Susan Clark. The Innamorati by Midori Snyder. Embassy Town by China Mayville. We got Brave New World. Frog Music. All the Light We Cannot See. Got Killing Commendator by Haruki Murakami. The Mothers by Britt Bennett. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Boy Snowbird and The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood. Blind Assassin I also got from Page One subscription. And then I have Black Prism by Brent Weeks, and under here you definitely cannot see it. Evangeline by Longfellow. Poetry, which I'm never in the mood for poetry, but at least I have one book of poetry in case that ever happens. Then we have Villette by Charlotte Bronte, Dahlgren by Samuel Delaney, Laurel Abhorsen. I have Sabriel somewhere. And then The Ally of Law by Sanderson. Mercedes Lackey's Sacred Ground. Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. A book that I always say I'm going to read and then I don't, so I probably should just get rid of that. Hammer of God by Karen Miller. And Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Okay, so on this shelf, the books that I want to read are The Revelations by Eric Hole. I did start it, and it started so good. It was such a good beginning. It's about this guy who's living out of his car. He's homeless. He's really hit rock bottom, and then he gets offered a position at, I think, a college as a professor, or he gets offered some position somewhere. He's a scientist, and things happen from there. I don't remember exactly, but it just started off really good. So I'm really excited to read that. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I don't know why, but I really liked that movie when I was younger. I don't remember anything about it. I just remember liking the movie, and I haven't watched it since because I'm afraid that I'm going to watch it and realize that it's not good. I want to read the book, and really those are the only two that I really want to read. Everything else, like, I would like to, but nothing's really calling out to me right now. On the bottom we have Once in a Great City by David Moranis, which is about, I think, Detroit. Yep, about Detroit. I read a nonfiction book about, what was it? Los Angeles? Yes, Los Angeles. And I really, really liked it. So I'm hoping that it's a similar vibe with this, that I really like this one as well. Then we have Cloud Atlas, Golden Sun, which is sequel to Red Rising, Found in the Lost, which is a collection of novellas by Ursula Guin. I've read a couple, but not a lot. Tucked on the top here, we have Bag of Bones by Stephen King. And then We'll Destroy the Galaxy for Cash by Yahtzee. I have the first book. That's the sequel. The first book is We'll Save the World for Food. I'm pretty sure that's the title. Then we have Ambergris, which is a collection, I think, of like 4 different books by Vandermeer. Here, this big collection right there. I've got A Game of Thrones by, Martin. Lies of Locke-Lamora. Dreadnought by Cherry Price. Not sure if I'm going to read that. Tiger's Daughter. The Warrior Moon and the Phoenix Empress. So I think. Charming Billy. The Club Dumas, which I've been wanting to read for a while, but I want to read The Three Musketeers first because it's sort of pulling a lot of stuff from Three Musketeers. So I'm currently reading Three Musketeers on my library app. And then we have The Seville Communion by Arturo Perez Reverte. The Life of Objects by Susanna Moore. The Onion Girl by Charles DeLint. A Reunion of Ghosts, and then The Romanov Sisters, which is a nonfiction about the Romanov sisters. We've got Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, and Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. Out of those books, what I really want to read is, well, it's not on the shelf, but We'll Save the World for Food, and I really want to read, I kind of really want to read The Romanov Sisters. I don't know, it's a big nonfiction book, but for some reason, that's pulling me towards it right now. And then, yeah, nothing else at the moment. Charming Billy. That has been always pulling me, even though it looks, like, sad. But I do want to read that. Now, my last bookshelf is nothing to really be concerned about. It's mostly books that I've read before. There's a couple on there that I haven't read. Some old books that I just don't want to get rid of. And then I have the books that are on the floor. There's Mercedes Lackey's books, Storm Warning, Storm Breaking, and Storm Rising. We've got Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton, and King's Dragon by Kate Elliott, Foundation by Asimov, Hyperion by Dan Simmons, Got Sherlock Holmes books way down there. Ghost Road Blues. Hey, Sabriel. That's where it is. Okay. And then His Majesty's Dragon. And Stranger in a Strange Land. So out of all of these books, I really want to read Hyperion and Foundation. Classic science fiction books. Those are the vast majority of the books that are on my physical TBR. I know there's some floating around somewhere, but whatever. So let me know if any of those really stood out to you that you want me to read this year. I will do my best to do that. I will feel the challenge and the obligations, which will help me get to it. Hopefully I can curtail my book buying habit. I'm not going to make any promises because I don't want to feel guilty about it next year, but we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching my video. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.